one company or another. Right here, we're denying
You can go the
one.
you can go the other way. You can go the other way and put a carrot out there
Yeah,
instead of a stick. You can go the other way.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
it. but
say, let's get rid of all the tree things.
to me, it's a property rights issue.
You know what,
Yeah, understandable. Understandable. Although I don't want to clear cut some of these great oaks that we have here either, like that,
Yeah.
that one over there.
I read
Walmart.
412, I read this
Oh, in Highland Village? Yeah,
adjourning to,
I just hope it makes it.
right.
You know where that Walmart in Highland Village is? And they, in the middle of, in the front, they built a big area, and there's a huge oak tree. And they've made a little seating area around it and stuff, and it
Little
goes down,
flags.
what, 8 feet, 6 feet?
About 8 feet.
Okay.
Got a little
It's
flag.
below grade,
Stick, 'cause I can't use that thing.
and it's huge.
And they're worried about it dying.
Well, they wouldn't, it probably will at some point, because if you disturb
Here, what a,
the, what do you call it?
So when you build asphalt parking lot or whatever,
Well, and they
Oh.
it's
supposedly,
gonna leach, that's gonna kill the roots.
Yeah, it's at the root
what
line.
number is it?
Root line is about the edge of where the canopy is.
yeah.
And, and if you, I've seen it where they get too close, or if you do, even if you run a tractor around the tree, someone will die. Yeah. Even with that. I can see some people now.
It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call the city council meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the invocation given by Councilman Gilmore, and then the pledge to both the American and Texas flags given by myself.
Please rise and share with me a moment of silence. Thank you.
You will join with me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We have a couple of little things that we're going to do tonight. And so I have a proclamation, and then we're going to learn a little bit about something about charitable friendship with our fellow men. If I could have Shania Shipsey. Did I pronounce that right?
Sheila
I'm sorry. Sheila Skipsey. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. As you can tell, Sheila is one of our organizations here in the community. She is with Salvation Army, which is located catty corner across the street over here. And tonight I'd like to present you with a proclamation, excuse me, that we have tonight. Whereas the Denton County Homeless Coalition, in cooperation with the National Coalition for the Homeless and the National Student Campaign Against Hunger and Homelessness, recognized November 12th through the 20th, 2011 as National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And whereas the purpose of this proclamation is to educate the public about hunger, homelessness, and to recognize the efforts that the Denton County Homeless Coalition members are taking to address these vital issues, and to encourage support for all those who provide resources and services to the hungry and to the homeless. And whereas there are many organizations committed to sheltering, providing support services, meals, food, and supplies to the homeless, and whereas to help in the continuing effort to support these organizations, the Denton County Homeless Coalition is sponsoring a food drive during Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. Whereas the theme of National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week 2011 is Bringing America Home. And whereas the City of Louisville recognizes that hunger and homelessness continue to be serious problems for many individuals and families in Denton County. Now therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, along with all members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim November 12th through the 20th, 2011 as Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, and do hereby urge all the citizens of this locality to become aware of the issues of hunger and homelessness in their community and support the efforts of local organizations in helping those affected. Proclaim the 7th day of November 2011. Let's get a photo here. And I have a feeling that you would like to say a few words about some upcoming events, not only with the Homeless Awareness Week, but some other things are getting ready to happen with Salvation Army.
Yeah.
So why don't you step forward and
I told you something.
You did.
I
We might have to bring that to you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Mayor, Councilman, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to come and stand before you and accept this proclamation this evening. I think it's so important at this point in time that we recognise that so many of our citizens in this area do not have an understanding of the issue that we have, and a growing issue that we have, not only in Denton County, but particularly in this city of Louisville, regarding the hunger and homelessness that is affected so many of our neighbours. There is today over 90 homeless active files just within the Salvation Army records in Louisville alone. And these are people that have had Louisville addresses. These are not just people that have come passing through on their way to somewhere else. These are people that have lived in Louisville for years, many of them, and have found themselves in the situation where they no longer are able to keep a roof over their head, and for many also not able to keep food on the table for their families. And if you ever want to experience some of that for yourself, you just need to walk across the road to our centre and come and share with us by doing some volunteer hours and seeing for yourself the effect that it affects so many people's lives. So I just want to thank you now, for I know and hope that you will go from this place and that you will share that with your fellow man as well, your neighbours. So please just remember in these coming days the importance that the weather is getting colder, but there will be so many people that will not have the comforts that we have, that when we go home, we sit down at the table, we eat a meal, we sleep in a comfortable bed. So many people are denied that, and we want to try and see what we can do to alleviate some of the issues that they have. So thank you for letting us share that with you today.
Well, and we would like to, as the city, as kind of a tradition that we have, we like to try to help the Salvation Army in kicking off their season. And so at this time, we'd like to invite any and all of those who would like to come down. I'll start with ringing the bell, and any of those who would like to kick off our campaign this year in Louisville for the Salvation Army to come forward and donate in the pot. So come forward if you'd like to.
Appreciate the help last night.
oh, I think we got one more.
Oh, you got
I think we
one
got
more.
one more.
We shamed him into doing it. We're gonna have to get him a Santa suit before too long.
Here we go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for giving. We appreciate your contributions. And thank you so much. He's in charge of taking the money and run. Thank y'all so much.
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
You know, it's amazing. Salvation Army is just one of the many organizations that we have here in our communities that are run by so many volunteers here in our community to help those who are less fortunate. And at times, some of us have been in those situations, and we know what it's like. So we thank them for the work they do. Next item on the agenda is the Visitor Citizen Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action may be taken on these items at this meeting, and I do not have any cards filled out. So the next item is consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I did not have any cards filled out by citizens, and no council member asked for an item to be pulled. Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the items on the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented by Councilman Vaughn.
Second.
Second by Councilman Guerrero. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is a tabled item, consideration of a final plat of Mira Vista Edition, a 3.023 acre parcel zoned local commercial with 7 proposed lots located near the northwest quadrant of FM 3040 and Euchre Lane with 2 variances. A, to provide an alternate paving section in lieu of paving an escrow fee for Euchre Lane, and B, to allow grading and tree removal for the entire 3-acre site and allowing tree mitigation on a per-lot basis as the lots are developed as requested by Steve Homeyer, Homeyer Engineering, Inc., on behalf of the owner. The item was tabled on November 7, 2011 at the October 17th meeting with the City Council direction to staff to provide paving options for Euchre Lane. The cost of resurfacing with 4-inch asphalt in the current alignment between 3040 and Rockbrook Drive is approximately $300,000. The cost for a full 37-foot concrete street per the thoroughfare plan with connections at Rockbrook Drive and Oak Bend Lane is approximately $2 million. Staff does not recommend the concrete option at this time due to the limited traffic volume expected and funding impediments. Recommendation is the City Council consider the final plat of Mira Vista Edition and variance A and deny variance B as set forth in the caption above. Does council want to see a presentation again by staff?
No, Mayor, but I would just like to say a few words.
Well, before we do, let me have Mr. Homeyer. I think he wants to come forward.
All right.
Were you here? Did you want to speak again, Mr. Homeyer, or just here for questions? And then we'll open it up.
Good evening. After the workshop session this evening, I called my client. Unfortunately, he's unable to be here this evening to discuss the discussion that occurred. If council, I guess, comes forward tonight and would look forward for the variance to be paid at this point in time, my client has indicated that he would wait to proceed with this project until the deliberation, I guess, would be made during the retreat in February to determine the prioritization of this particular roadway. The biggest concern, like I indicated in the workshop session, is that the money would be paid to the city, and then it would be years before the particular roadway would be improved, and then the road would stay in disrepair until such time. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
May I have any questions? Okay, thank you. We might have some here in a few minutes, so if you
That's fine.
maintain. Thank you, sir. Councilman Vaughn, you said you had questions, sir?
No, sir, I don't have a question, but I would just like to make sure that the citizens understand this the way that I understand it. And I had a lengthy discussion this afternoon when I asked basically how $300,000 compares to $2 million. If the applicant was to meet the current ordinance, that would mean that he would have to put sewer, curb, and gutter in front of his place for whatever cost that was, not $2 million. That's the first point I want to make. And the second is that I am in favor of granting this variance. The applicant has, in his variance request, has requested to lay asphalt from 3040 to just north of his property. And after discussions with the city, there is no immediate in the future plan to go further with this roadway. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands. I did not understand 300,000 and 2 million. So to me, they were comparing apples and oranges, and I just wanted everybody to know that there is a difference in what we're talking about here. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, sir. Councilman Durham?
I'd like to see us break these two down into two different things if we could.
Okay.
On the first item, the roadway, I would like to see us go ahead and have the property owner put in the asphalt all the way down to 3040. Then we can bring this up at a retreat to see if we need to put this in a bond program. I can let the property owner move forward. I do understand their position, that they're going to spend the money to build this, to get this product on the ground, and then they don't know when this road's going to be fixed to the point that they can use it. So that's where I stand on it right now.
Is that a motion?
I can make that in the form of a motion to let the property owner put his, whatever the asphalt proposal was, from the north part of their property line down to 3040.
I second that motion.
That was for variance A only, correct?
Yes, and that would be to meet whatever the city staff requirements would be for the asphalt street and all that.
Got that? You understand that, Jude? Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Vaughn. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, you want to take item B now?
I'll probably be in opposition to what some of the others will have, but I'm going to be opposed to this one. Excuse me, I'll be in favor of the variance that the property owner wants on the tree mitigation.
So your motion is to be in favor of the variance?
If I asked for a motion, I would be to approve the variance.
And just to clarify, Councilman
Can't hear you.
Jimber,
Phone's not working. Thank you.
not on. Testing, okay.
Push your button.
I think we're on button push.
How long has it been up here?
The developer proposed at the last meeting a modification where the deferment would last for 5 years, I believe. So I don't know if your motion incorporates that proposal or not, and certainly Mr. Homeyer could come back up and clarify what that meant if you
If
want to
that still
incorporate
is acceptable to the property owner.
Yes, Mr. Durham, basically what we proposed at the last meeting would be to pay the, I think it was $3,000 and some odd dollars per lot at the time of building permit, or pay the remainder by the fifth year.
Yes, that is part of my motion.
Okay.
Let me understand, are we saying that he can go ahead and clear cut the entire piece of property and only pay for it a seventh at a time?
To whatever their variance was. I mean, whatever the request for the variance was.
Is that what you're proposing, Mr. Homeyer? Are you saying that you go ahead and you're allowed to go ahead and clear cut, completely remove all trees at the beginning, even though you're not using all the lots yet? You're going to develop one lot first, but you want to go ahead and cut all the trees off of all the lots and only pay for the lots you're going to use at first?
That is somewhat correct, yes, sir. The way this particular property is laid out, there's about 12 feet of fall from the front of the property to the back of the property. In order to grade the entire property, in order to make it developable, have each lot be able to stand alone with regard to water, sewer, access, and so forth, we have to grade the entire property. And in doing so, there's some areas that's going to receive some fill. There's going to be some areas that's going to have a little bit of cut in that area. So in order to balance that and make that work, we will have to remove the majority of the trees on the site. And that's where we came in to ask the variance to pay it in a proportionate share, and then in the fifth year, pay the remaining balance.
But you could you do this project without cutting all those trees off first, just doing the ones that you're going to, do the lots as you're going to develop them?
Well, the bottom portion of the property, we're raising it about 3.5 feet, and that's in order to get gravity sewer into the property. The front portion of the property, in order to make that area drain and get it to inlet so that we don't create ponding issues on site, yes, we will have to grade those areas as well.
Okay. I guess my next question to staff is, what happens if they go ahead and take all the trees out, clear cut the property, and then they sell property off, or they go out of business or whatever, and we haven't collected the remaining funds?
Well, if they're no longer the entity that's in charge of it, we would still attempt to collect the property or the fee at the time of the property development. What Steve, I think, is proposing is that the tree mitigation fee be paid on a lot-by-lot basis as the lots are sold and developed. So once they get a permit, in other words, for a new building, they're going to pay the tree mitigation fee.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so there's always the possibility that who you're dealing with today is gone tomorrow, but we would still attempt to apply the same criteria to the future owner. Now, there's not necessarily a guarantee that you'll be able to collect on that. Some of these types of arrangements can be voided by bankruptcy courts, and so I'm not telling you that we'll be able to collect that 100%, but we would certainly try.
And then if for some reason they paid the one lot, they paid the fee for the one lot, they went in and cleared all lots, but then for some reason they decide not to develop the other lots, then we'd never recoup the money for the other trees that they cleared, cut.
Well, I think the agreement would say that they're going to pay, after 5 years, 100% of the fees required.
Okay.
So they're going to pay on a lot-by-lot basis as the lots are built on.
Okay.
But at the end of 5 years, they're going to pay up whatever the balance is regardless. So they wouldn't technically have to pay anything if they didn't develop a lot for 5 years, but then at 5 years, they'd have to pay it all.
That is correct.
Would we be able to assess the initial lot that they developed if the other lots did not develop? But let's say he develops his property, and I'll just say it's property A. He developed property A, but for some other reason, what reason, you never decide to develop the other 6 lots. Then would we be able to assess the owners of Lot A for the remaining, if they have changed hands or whatever?
I don't think so. Presumably, the owner of Lot A would have paid their fee when they obtained their development permit. So they would be free and clear for their share of the tree mitigation fees.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, we had a motion to approve per that
For the variance. if you
discussion.
want
By the way, Mayor, the staff recommendation remains against the tree mitigation approach simply because of the time frame and complexity and precedent-setting nature of it.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second, if you need a second, go for it.
Have a motion to approve
Then vote on it.
by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Guarina. Any further discussion?
Now, I just want to make sure that you are talking about, what you're denying is that they make payments, but paid out at different intervals. That's what you're wanting to deny, is that correct?
What our recommendation is?
Yes, sir. Just want to make sure I understand it.
Right. We recommended denial of the initial variance. We're also recommending denial of this variation on the variance simply because of the 5-year time frame and trying to have to collect something at some
You
point.
just rather than pay it all up front. Okay. Yeah, let's just vote on it, but I do want to make a statement. I know it's in another item, but I sure like to, treat all our clients the same out there. But go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
We have a 2-2.
Yes, sir.
Aye. I'll cast a tie breaking vote in a aye for oppose. So motion fails. We have another motion.
Do we need another motion?
Yes,
Yes.
because it failed.
We've still got, that motion failed. So we needed, that was a motion to approve the variance. And that failed. So we would need a motion as to how do we want to act on this variance.
So we need a motion to deny the variance. So I so move to deny the variance on the tree abatement.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to deny the variance as set forth in variance B, and a second by Councilman Vaughn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
We have a 2-2, is that correct? Yep. 2 down there? I'll cast the deciding vote and vote aye in favor. Get that, Julie? Okay. Okay. Item number 9, I will be abstaining as my wife works for Chase Bank.
Okay, item 9 is a tabled item from the last meeting. It's consideration of an economic development agreement by and between the City of Louisville and Vista 121 Business Center LP, and authorization for the city manager to execute the contract. Vista 121 Business Center LP entered into an agreement with the city in 2007 to build a 240,000 square foot office building. The building was completed in 2008 but was not occupied. The entire building is now leased by J.P. Morgan Chase for a new business center, and additional parking is needed for the 1,200 to 2,000 new employees. The agreement provides for an incentive to the developer for 75% reduction of tree mitigation fees to construct the new parking lot for the occupancy of this facility. The recommendation is that the City Council approve the economic development agreement and all the other related items as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Vaughn?
Sir, I would just like to state for the record that I was opposed to this at our earlier meeting, but in deference to what a previous city council decided and wanted, I withdraw my objection to this proposal, and I do support it.
Okay. Councilman Gilmore?
Again, I'm going to stick with my vote from last time. I do support it. And again, the deference to previous councils, they go into these economic development negotiations and sometimes they go over multiple councils, and to my mind, it's for the greater good of the city to make sure we're consistent when we're dealing with that community.
Okay, Councilman Guarino.
I think my colleagues have very good points, both Mr. Gilmore and Mr. Vaughn. Last time we met 3 weeks ago, I just had this problem giving a variance to this item and not giving a variance to the other, which was the previous item. And to me, it just shows inconsistency. Either we charge for trees or we don't charge for trees. And Councilman Durham over here to my left had mentioned, why are we getting money from people who have trees just because they have trees? They have to pay money. You wait long enough, the weed will turn into a redwood or something, and then we're going to charge them more if they've got to cut it down for whatever the reason is. Look, it's one of those situations where I think if it's part of our ordinance, everybody needs to pay for it, or we need to change the ordinance. So I'm going to recommend that I'm going to go for this and vote in favor of this variance, but I really would like to bring up this tree ordinance for discussion next council meeting, please. I'm asking staff to put that on the agenda. We need to do something about that.
And you through there?
Yes, sir, I am through.
Okay, and I'll be in support of this. Is anyone have a motion?
Motion to approve the variance as stated in the caption there.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Mayor, you can come back now.
Mayor, come back now.
I've done my duty here.
Mr. Hollenmeyer left.
Yeah.
I was going to tell him if we do change it, they need to come back to ask for the variance.
Mhm. It's gonna be- Mayor, we're at number 10.
Thank you, sir. Item 10 is consideration of a request for variance to Louisville City Code, Section 11-14C, prohibited signs regarding an off-premise sign to be located at 1511 FM 407, as requested by Suzanne Sossaman, representing Stonecrest Investments and the property owner. Stonecrest Investment owns 2 lots located within the shopping center on the northwest corner of Garden Ridge Boulevard in FM 407. The first lot is developed and has 2 retail buildings on the rear portion of the complex. Stonecrest Investments also owns a vacant lot that has approximately 223 feet of frontage along FM 407. Stonecrest Investments believes that locating the sign off-premise along FM 407 frontage would increase visibility, attract more business volume, and that the variance would significantly lower the cost of a replat at this time. Should the City Council approve this request, Stonecrest Investments has agreed to restrict the off-premise sign to a height of no greater than 30 feet and to only allow a low-profile monument sign for future development on Lot 4. That the city recommendation is the City Council consider the requested variance as set forth in the caption above. Did staff want, council want to see a presentation by staff on this? Councilman Grena?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Grena, second by Councilman Vaughn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is consideration of an ordinance of the City Council granting to Denton County Electric Cooperative, Inc., DBA CoServe Electric, the non-exclusive right to use and occupy rights-of-way within the city of Louisville for the construction and operation of an electric transmission and distribution system, prescribing conditions governing the use of the public right-of-way, and providing for comprehensive compensation therefore. In 1989, an ordinance was executed by the City of Denton County Electric Cooperative, Inc. for electric franchise privileges with a termination date of March 2009. Staff and legal counsel have been negotiating the franchise agreement and have reached consensus with CoServe. The ordinance has been updated to amend requirements and moves the franchise payments from 3% of gross receipts to a standard kilowatt-hour factor utilized by other transmission and distribution operators. The existing franchise has remained in effect with CoServe providing franchise payments during this time. The new franchise will expire on December 31st, 2021, based upon charter requirements and the new franchise requirements. The effective date of the franchise will be March 1, 2012. Recommendation is City Council approve the proposed ordinance as the first reading is set forth by the chapter and the caption above. Councilman Gilmore?
Move to approve the ordinance as written.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Gilmore, a second by Councilman Guerrero. Any discussion? All in favor?
Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Counselor, go ahead. I beg your pardon.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, granting to Denton County Electric Cooperative, Inc., doing business as CoServe Electric, its successors and assigns, the non-exclusive right to use and occupy rights-of-way within the City of Lewisville for the construction and operation of an electric transmission and distribution system, prescribing conditions governing the use of the public rights-of-way, providing for compensation therefore, providing an effective date and a term of said franchise, providing for written acceptance of this franchise, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public, and providing for severability.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Counselor.
Mayor, there will be a second reading of this ordinance in December.
Okay. Probably couldn't hear City Manager say there'd be a second reading of the ordinance in December. Item 12 is consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 11 signs of the Lewisville City Code by amending regulations related to political signs. At this time, we're going to convene into executive session for consultation with attorney.
Back in a few.
Okay, we'll convene back into regular session. Once again, we're on item 12, consideration of ordinance amending Chapter 11 signs of the Lewisville City Code by amending the regulated signs related to political signs. Texas Local Government Code 216.903 provides for the manner in which municipalities may regulate political signs on private property. To regulate political signs to the extent allowed by law, it is necessary to amend Section 11-13E of the Lewisville City Code to A, clarify the definition of political sign, B, prohibit political signs greater than 8 feet in height, C, prohibit the illumination of political signs, D, prohibit moving elements on political signs, E, delete the 90-day time limit for political signs located on private property prior to an election being decided. F, provide a 30-day time limit for removal of political signs placed on private property after an election is decided. And G, clarify the time limit for political signs located on property other than private real property. Recommendation of staff is council consider the proposed ordinance as set forth in the caption above. I do have a card filled out here by a gentleman, and pronounce me if I get this wrong, is it Da Vinci Waltrons? Walters? Yes, sir. If you come forward, please, sir. If I mispronounce that, I apologize, sir.
No worries, sir.
If you will, just state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Da Vinci Watras. I live at 22295 Kiowa Drive in Justin, Texas, 76247.
Okay.
Do I continue, sir?
Yes, sir.
I find it unconstitutional to regulate political signs or ideological signs. If you will, I will read the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and the position of the government for a redress of grievances. I would like to put up signs over town at private locations, private residents, with the permission of the people that live there. I have 3 different locations I would like to do this at. I would also like to install these signs on the fence of the private property, which I've also found to be not allowed. I've talked to many people, I forgot the names of the people I've talked to, but apparently it's not allowed to install a sign directly, that plywood sign, directly on the side of a fence. I'm not really understanding why. I feel it's my freedom under the First Amendment of the Constitution to do this. I find it is a complete unconstitutional fact that I cannot do this as a United States citizen living in the United States. And I also find it very disturbing that a city can do changes or make things differently than the Constitution because I feel very strongly that cities have to obey the Constitution of the United States. I'm very nervous. It's my first time. So.
Don't worry about it.
You're fine.
Also, I would like to have the sign up indefinitely. I think any laws or regulations regarding the sign should be eliminated. I'm a Ron Paul supporter, and the sign would read Ron Paul Revolution, like it says on my shirt, and would have the freedomtry.org on it, of course, and the 2012 like it has on my back of my shirt, which I'll turn around. So pretty much what's on my shirt, and I'm allowed to wear this in here, so I feel I should be able to have it on private land as long as I want. And I would like to have this set up from as soon as possible till the end of the elections in 2012. I'm open to any questions you may have.
Council, have any questions or anything? Counselor, would you like to address anything? You okay?
Just that we believe that the ordinance that's proposed will comply with law, the law, state and federal law.
Anything else, sir?
Mayor, I did have one question.
Sure.
What was the sign, the height of the sign or the square footage of the signs you were wanting to put up?
That's a very good question. They'll be less than 5 feet high, maybe 5 feet, and the signs will be 32 square feet. They're just 1 sheet of plywood.
Okay. What I've heard, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong, what he's proposing right now, the size of the sign that's been stated, the time duration up until the election, that meets where we're talking about on this proposed ordinance. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
So and then the only thing that would be different or outside of that it would have to be removed within 30 days after the election. Is that what you were asking for?
Yes, sir.
I think that this proposed ordinance meets all that. But that's what we're thinking of. That's why I read the ordinance anyway. So you would have this right. Now, I did have a question on the fence that he mentioned. Is there prohibition against putting it on a private property owner's fence?
Currently, there is, and state law says that we can't regulate political signs on real private property. And it's our position that real private property doesn't include a fence, it includes the land.
It does not include a fence?
But it's my understanding that my assistant is talking with him, and we're working through these issues.
Okay. So it's being attached to the fence is the question mark?
Yeah, we're working through that issue right now.
I was just trying to throw something out there. If they put it on T-post right
Right.
next to the fence, that wouldn't be an illegal sign?
Correct, and I believe that my assistant has discussed that with him.
That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Do you have anything else, sir?
Yeah, could I clarify on that? The attaching the sign to the fence? I feel that I should be able to do that since it is technically private property. Like the fence is owned by the person living at the property. So I don't understand the reason why I couldn't attach it. And I would like to go in and maybe get this passed so I won't have to talk about it in the future. If it's possible, so you have that done. I mean, I just don't want to take the work to dig 2 fence posts to attach a fence. I mean, attach my sign. I would like to just screw it right into the fence and then take it down after the elections. Just saving myself some time, that's all.
Is that allowed now?
No.
No?
No signage is allowed on fences
Okay,
of any kind.
all right.
So
I'm sorry, what'd you
uniform
say?
treatment.
Your microphone's not.
At present, no, it's my understanding that no signs are allowed on fences.
But y'all are looking into something
Yes.
right now? Okay.
Okay, sir?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You bet. Councilman Grena?
Move to approve the ordinance as supplied in our, in the caption you read, sir.
Have a motion by Councilman Grena to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Oh, Mayor?
Well, I was waiting for you, but you didn't do it.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, amending Chapter 11 signs of the Lewisville City Code by amending the regulations related to political signs, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor. Okay. Item 13 is consideration of renaming Sycamore Park to Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park. The Park Board received a request presented by Pastor Ronald Elder to rename Sycamore Park to Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park at the regular October 13, 2010 board meeting. In addition to the nomination form, the board has also received a petition with 118 signatures in favor of renaming the park, a letter of support from Commissioner Bobby Mitchell, and a letter of support from Ms. Vernell Gregg. To date, no letters of comments of opposition have been received. The Park Board, at their October 12, 2011 meeting, unanimously recommended approval of a renaming Sycamore Park to Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park in compliance with the Lewisville Park naming guidelines. The Park Board also unanimously recommended that the park remain named Sycamore Park until full funding for the sign has been provided, and failure to receive the funding within 12 months of council's approval will negate the name change. Recommendation of staff is that council consider renaming Sycamore Park to Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park, subject to the receipt of public funding within 12 months. I have a card here filled out by Ronald Elder. He is here in support. However, he does not wish to speak, but he's here to answer any questions. Is that correct, sir? Yes, sir. Okay. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, there's been a couple of questions raised that the Park Board was unaware of, and I would like to send this back to the Park Board to review. And I would say if there's, I don't want to go into what the topic is right now, but I am in support of making this change to be named Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park. But I would like the Park Board to relook at their recommendation again, and if there's some things they need to look at, I would ask for them to redo that. And I don't have a problem with the decision they made. I just want all facts to be laid out. And if there's anybody wants any questions answered on that, I can. But I would put that in the form of a motion.
Motion to table it.
I don't know, do we table it or just move it? I don't know.
I would just table it until the Park Board returns the item with the recommendation.
Okay, I would ask that we table that until the Park Board returns with another recommendation.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Durham to table until the Park Board returns the item with a recommendation with the new information that they might receive. Is there a second? Is there a second? No second to table. Okay, motion dies. Councilman Grenna?
I was kind of in favor of what Councilman Durham was wanting to do, but I didn't see a need for it. The issues that have been presented, I don't know if they're true or not. Don't really care, to be honest with you. The fact that is that I didn't know Mr. Turner Sr., but I know that the people in that neighborhood did know him. And I also believe that the man was supported by his community, as Alvin Turner Sr. apparently has been. There appears to have been, if he did have a past, appears to have redeemed himself to a point where the neighborhood wants to honor him by naming their local park over there after Alvin Turner Sr. His good works, whatever they may be, have made him a leader to his neighbors. And if they wish to honor him and they all sign for it, I'm for it. I don't have anything against it. The cost of which that they will supply and can, you know, they're going to pay for the cost of the changes, and they can leave it Sycamore Park by not paying for it. They have 12 months to come up with the money. Again, I'm okay with that. But ultimately, such a man redeemed, if he did have a troubled past, has been forgiven for his transgressions if he's had that troubled past, and should have the freedom to live without the haunting past that no longer reflects the man. Apparently, he's been a changed man. So I'm going to make the motion to accept the name change to Alvin Turner Senior Park as the neighborhood has requested, with all the signatures, with all the following that those the folks that live in that area want to do. That's what I'm going to recommend.
Are you putting the funding?
That's in a motion, yes, to go ahead and approve this name change as stated.
As stated? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a motion by Councilman Grenna to go ahead and approve the name change with the stipulation of the funding program as stated in the ordinance.
I second the motion.
I have a second by Councilman Vaughn. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Alvin, I want to apologize to you up front on this, but I did know your father, and I am in support of this name change being made. But I want to make sure everybody knows all the facts about Mr. Turner, of public record. But I'm not going to go into them now, but all I was asking for is that we send this back to the park board to vet that out, that it's put on the table what the public record would show of Mr. Turner's record, and convictions and whatever happened to probation he was on and other things out there. But I'm still for the name change. But I cannot believe we don't even want to look at the record and make sure we are comfortable with what's happened on the record. I'm not talking about arrest and things that may have occurred or didn't occur. But we're putting our head in the sand not to even look at what's out there on the public record. So
I kind of wish you said that before, but that's a very good point.
that's exactly what I
Well,
was saying before.
That was in the meeting. I meant out here.
Yeah.
Out here.
So, and again, I do apologize for that, but that's why I'm concerned about this. I just want it to be put out on the table and let us vote on all the facts being out there. And whatever it comes with, I'm still going to vote to change the name of the park to Reverend Alvin Turner Senior Park. So I'm going to get that clear. I'm not opposed to this, no matter what comes up. But I think we need to know, and everybody here needs to know, what's out there. That's all I have.
I did talk to one, individual from the neighborhood, and, she did tell me she was aware, but she thought he was a great man. So, changed man as it is. Anyway, I did make the motion. It was seconded by Mr. Vaughn.
Any other discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to say a few words. Basically, I didn't know Mr. Turner either, but I do know the people that have spoken and written to me in favor of this action. Commissioner Mitchell and Vernell Greggs, and the community over there seems to want this action. It falls under the auspices of a local issue for me. And I have spent some time over there lately in relationship to the police department and activities that they conduct in the area. And it seems like the neighborhood culture is changing very rapidly. The people that knew this man are elderly and, you know, God forbid, won't be around a long time. And I think it would be in the best interest of everybody if we voted to go ahead and do this now. I have looked at the public record, not any, you know, private thing, just what's out there that any individual could go look at. And I did not see anything that would dissuade me from voting in favor of this action. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Item 14 is consideration of acceptance of resignation of Margie Rochelle from place number 3 on the Park Board, declare a vacancy exists, and consideration of an appointment to place number 3 on the Park Board. Margie Rochelle has submitted her resignation from place number 3 on the Park Board due to her recent move to another city. The City Council will need to consider a new appointment to fill the vacancy in place number 3. Recommendation is City Council accept the resignation of Margie Rochelle from place number 3 on the Park Board, declare a vacancy exists, and consider an appointment to fill the vacancy. Councilman Gilmore?
My apologies, I don't have the note on the gentleman that we were going to.
I'm sorry, Councilman Grana?
Um,
Sorry, I looked that wrong.
I'd like to recommend Richard Oropeza. He's attended the Park Board meetings. He does know what to expect, and he's filled out application. Of course, he meets the minimum requirements. That's who I'd recommend to fill that empty spot, sir, and accept the resignation of Margie Rochelle.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Gunner to accept the resignation of Margie Rochelle and to appoint Richard Mendoza to place number 3 on the Park Board.
That'd be Oropeza, sir.
Oropeza, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Second.
A second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, consideration of nominations to the Denton Central Appraisal District Appraisal Review Board. The Board of Directors of the Denton Central Appraisal District is requesting candidates for possible appointment to the Appraisal Review Board. Each jurisdiction may nominate more than one candidate. That the City Council consider nominations to the Denton Central Appraisal District Appraisal Review Board.
Mayor, I'll be abstaining on this since I'm employed by the appraisal district.
Okay? Council, this time, I'll just open this up to anyone. Do any of you have anyone that you would like to nominate to the appraisal?
When is our deadline on that, city manager?
Hold on, I'll take a look.
I slipped my mind. I just didn't know anybody who had that much time. I know it takes a lot of time, and it's just during the summer months.
They are looking by October 31st.
Yes.
By October 31st?
October 31st.
Oh, last week?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
their application says.
All right, yeah, I couldn't find anybody who would be
I
interested.
couldn't either. Anyone else able to
No, sir.
find anyone that was willing to serve?
I wasn't contacted by anybody.
I contacted several, and it was the time commitment, as Councilman Renner reiterated too that they have to spend during the summer on this, and I was not able to get anyone to commit to that. So with that, there'll be no action taken on this item. That's all right, didn't Counselor? Just take no action on the item? Okay, item 16 is consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code, Chapter 11, signs. Oh, somebody, there's Rudy. Okay. Consideration of a variance to Louisville City Code, Chapter 11, signs regarding temporary marketing and directional sign related to the 2011 Holiday at the Hall. Staff is requesting a variance to Louisville City Code to allow temporary marketing and directional signs in connection with the 2011 Holiday at the Hall Festival. Promotional signs would be placed in various locations in Old Town and at Memorial Park. Directional signs would be placed at and leading to public parking in Old Town. Recommendation: the City Council approve the requested variances set forth in the caption above. Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I recommend that we accept the variance request as stated.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Vaughn to approve as stated.
Second.
Second by Councilman Grenna. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I will mention to everyone that we will be having a, which is, it ties in this, we will be having our Sound Pack Ford Christmas Parade. I was reminded that today in an email. We will be having our Sound Pack Ford Christmas Parade in conjunction with this. And so if any of those would like to be out there and be involved in the Christmas Parade, we'd certainly like for you to contact the city and get your entrance scheduled so we can have a great Christmas parade again this year.
First Saturday in December, right, Mayor?
Yes, first Saturday in December. Okay. We're down to reports. Nika. Chief? Everything going good, sir? Your banquet was very nice, sir. Very well done. We enjoyed that. And you got everybody out just as promised. Everybody's out by the end of the third inning, just like you said. Ms. Scholar? Anything? Chief Kerbal? No, sir. Anything going on with the lake out there, Carol?
No, sir, not much at all.
We heard a little lightning and thunder a while ago, but I don't know if we're getting much rain.
It was raining pretty hard. I stepped out to check, and it was
Well,
raining pretty hard.
hopefully we get it. We need it. Donnie, you have anything, ma'am? Brenda? Mr. Ferris?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to announce our fall adoption event in Animal Services called Paws in the Park. The event will be held on Saturday, November 12th from 11 to 3 at Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park. It's going to be a great event encouraging pet adoption and pet welfare. A number of people are going to be there. This is a new event that Laura Wise and her staff have worked with others to put on, but we're going to have other municipal shelters present, local veterinarians, rescue groups, pet care, pet boarding facilities will be there. The Louisville Police Canine Unit will be there. Some news and media will be there, and some pet book authors, and many more people will be there in booths. The event will be held in the northeast corner of the parking lot, and we're hoping for good weather, but we're looking forward to this to encourage adoptions and pet rescues.
It's 11 to 3. Eric? It's 11 to 3.
11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday the 12th, and encourage everybody to come out and have some fun. This ought to be a good event.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Backus? Councilman Durham?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilman Grenna?
Nothing, sir.
Councilman Gilmore?
Quick things. Stole my microphone. Two quick things. Number one, 7 to 7 tomorrow. Please come out and vote. Number two, November 13th, the Louisville Lake Symphony has a wonderful Veterans Day tribute that's going on. You can go to mclgrand.com for more information.
Mr. King? No, sir. Councilman Vaughn?
No, sir.
Counselor? Julie? I do want to commend both the fire department for your wonderful banquet that you did for your team members, and I'm working on the money situation that my granddaughter referenced to. I'm working on that for next year, but I don't know about that. She asked me the other day if I did that, and I said, no, honey, I didn't. And Bob, I want to commend you and your staff so much on that wonderful Halloween festival was out there. I understand it was by far the largest attended crowd we've ever had for that festival. in the new railroad park, and I've had so many people ask me, what's that big building y'all are building over there? What's all that construction? Y'all gonna build some more park? And I told them, well, actually, that's gonna be our animal adoption facility, and brand new state of the art. And so they were excited to hear about that and said they'd been to our old one and they were looking forward to our new one. So we're glad to hear that's going on. With that, in conjunction, in accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, in Section 551.072, real estate, and Section 551.087, economic development, will now convene into executive session.